Morning, everyone. Today we are going to be going through the Advantage Edge Voyage solution. So this is our travel solution that we have built. So it's based on the Dynamics 365 product stack, and we're going to be going through a quick presentation today and then a quick demo of what functions, some of the functions that we've got in the solution, but it's by no means a full demo. But it should give you a flavour of what we've built, how it could help you, and what you can expect from the system. So I'm going to just share my screen, and we are just going to get started with our presentation. If you do have any questions during this webinar, please just feel free to pop them in the chat, or alternatively, you can contact myself following the webinar to discuss anything in more detail. So today, as I mentioned, we'll go through some introductions of who I am and who Advantage are as well. For those of you who don't know who we are, I'll talk a little bit about what our travel solution does, the challenges we see in the travel industry, and actually then we'll demo some of the functionality and talk about how it helps. We'll then just talk about next steps, and we'll leave some time at the end for a Q&A. This should only be about half an hour today. We're not expected to use the full hour. But again, if you've got any questions through that, we'll leave time at the end to go through any of them. So my name is Joe. I've been at Advantage for just over 6 months. I joined as a new business sales and account manager. So I help our existing customers with their solutions, but also have a focus into our new business, welcoming new companies into the business, looking at how we can help them going forward, and specifically in the travel industry, how we can help those customers move forward with their solutions, whether that is utilising our pre-existing solution or actually building something around them. So Advantage are a privately owned MSP, so Microsoft Solutions Partner. We specifically focus on ERP, CRM, and IT services all under one roof. So basically everything under the Microsoft stack we want to cover. We are privately owned, as I mentioned, with over 40 employees. We are a tier 1 cloud solution provider as well, which essentially means that we have a really close knit relationship with Microsoft. So not only holding our Microsoft Solution Partner designations, but also a Microsoft Jumpstart Partner designation as well. Because we are just over 40 employees, we make sure that we stay really focused in what we do as an organisation. We work with select groups of clients in niche specializations, so one of those being travel, but we also work across accountancy, travel and care, and financial services. But we always focus on solution over system. So what that means is that whenever we look at the challenges that someone is facing, we'd rather fit them to the right solution and rather than try to fit them to a technology. And because we do ERP, CRM, and IT services, it gives us the flexibility to be able to provide the solutions across the board, which means we're not kind of honed into one specific system to fix any problems. So in terms of our offering, so I mentioned there, so we do core IT services that flow right through your business, from cybersecurity to managed IT services, looking after your hardware, your software, your licensing. Also looking at stuff like cybersecurity, which is really key at the moment, and also moving more into the AI space as well. So how can we utilize AI for your business to improve those any of your processes? Our core solutions are CRM and ERP. So those two are the kind of the technologies, if you like, that we utilize within the Microsoft stack. Within that specifically, we have Microsoft Dynamics 365 and Microsoft Dynamics 365 Business Central, so CRM and ERP packages. But this is all underpinned by the Power Platform. So this is where we can be more flexible for you and for your needs. Power Platform allows us to create low to no code solutions using Power Apps, Power Automate, Power BI for reporting. And that just gives us way more in terms of what we can do for our customers. We do offer quick start packages, so if you are wanting to get up and running pretty quickly at a cost-effective price, or a low cost-effective price, should I say. We do offer quick start packages for all our solutions. However, most of what we do is the out-of-the-box implementation. So where people are already on solutions, they're really trying to level up what they do. We look towards out-of-the-box implementations where possible, and we also do our bespoke niche specializations as well. For the most part, that is actually still out of the box because we've built packages, built solutions around those, but actually allows us to be a little bit more flexible, a little bit more dynamic in terms of how we implement for our customers. So, travel operations package, also known as Edge Voyage, is essentially a system that we've created for travel and tour operators. So within what you can see here is essentially some of the functionality that we've got within the operations. Now, this system was built alongside a tour operator. So we used our own kind of industry experience to build out a core package, and then it has been honed down alongside tour operators to essentially mean that we are giving our customers exactly what they need, but also we're utilizing their experience because they work day to day in it to actually build out the package. So it starts with everywhere from contact, supplier, and client creation. We then have a tour management section within that. And what that allows us to do is manage tour legs, tours as a whole, create bookings, not only for hotels, for venues, for flights with that as well. We also have a timeline tracking, so you can see if there's any notes that need to go into it, if there's any phone calls, if there's any key information that goes into that tracking, we can see that in the system. And then in terms of the improving upon what already exists is we have automated surveys that go out, and specifically what I'll show you today is the hotel surveys, or talk about, sorry, is the automated hotel surveys. And that improves the automation around actually getting the information from hotels. So rather than somebody having to go to multiple hotels and get the information and ring up, those surveys can go out automatically. They can fill them out. So actually you can gain a lot of the data back into your system, which is then held as well. So you can actually see that, what that looks like for not just one client, but it could be for multiple clients as well. Then we can summarize the client record activity. We can also give communication recommendations, but also the auto. Businesses or people are always looking to focus on one of these 8 things in the majority, but they will link together in terms of other things that they can help with. So that could be actually coming from pain points. Usually is actually they're struggling with manual processes, they're struggling to grow, they're struggling to increase their income. The stakeholders, the employees of the business, their customers are having poor experiences. They're paying too much for technology, or they're paying too much for processes. So actually what we look to do is focus on that pain and how can we then help you and add that value as a partner, but also with our system, to be able to push you forward as an organization. So specifically with the travel product, there's 3 that we specifically focus on. The first one is improved stakeholder experience. So that's twofold. That is client side, supplier side, and also then the employee side. So people in your business not having to go through manual tasks that they don't need to, having the information at their fingertips, being able to manage stuff easily, and then that goes through to your clients and suppliers, which then can, one, see what's happening from a client perspective, but also with your suppliers, they can know that you've got all the right information that they're sending over to you. The improved automation as well, so that stuff, not only in the core functionality of managing the tour, but also stuff like the surveys, the hotel surveys that are coming back, the automated communication that goes out of the system as well. But also another one kind of ancillary to everything else is reducing the risk. So with creating a better stakeholder experience, with creating improved automation. One, you reduce the risk of clients going elsewhere, suppliers going elsewhere, but also you reduce the risk of issues coming up in those in creating the tours, creating the travel plans. So if you're getting it right, because we use an automation, we know that actually if human error does come into it, and also we know that systems can always do it quicker. We can hold the records, it doesn't sit in somebody's mind. And that's not to say that your staff aren't fantastic, it's just to say actually we can make sure that that human error element is taken out of it so that people have an even better experience with you and reduce that risk of potentially issues coming up, more time being taken during tours. So actually, once things are in place, your team are able to relax more once they know a tour is going ahead, that all the details are correct. So we're going to jump into a quick demo of the solution now. So as I mentioned previously, so you can see that we're in a sandbox here, but this is Dynamics 365 CRM. And essentially, or actually what it is in more detail is actually a Power App. So what we utilize is the core functionality from Dynamics 365 and the Power Platform to create tables, to have the tables in the CRM as standard, but then we customize them as part of our package to be able to add in the detail that you need as a tour or travel operator. Now, within this, again, this will be a fairly quick demo in terms of the functionality that we are going to go through, just to give you a flavor of what the system can do. But if you want to know more about it, please get in contact with us because we can absolutely show you more, go through in more detail what it can do and kind of expand on what the system does as a whole. At its core, it's still a CRM system, so a customer relationship management system. So it allows you to have your accounts and your contacts held in the system. But specifically then, what it allows us to do is create tours for bands or artists, or actually it could be a sports tour, it could be a specific client that's just going on a traveling tour. So they might be traveling multiple places, so we want to have that. And then also off the back of that, we've got the bookings that we put in there as well. The example that we're going to use today is a tour with a band, but this can be used for private bookings, it can be used for sports. There is so much flexibility in what the system can do, and we'll show you a couple of those different options in the clients. So the first place to start is actually the accounts. So you can see here that I've got a couple of different accounts in here, and we'll get onto them in a second. So I'm going to start with our band, which are called Rexplode. So as you can see in the system, this is where we start to just add some of the information around the account. So you've got your account name, your account type, so whether that is a client or a supplier. You can then add an account number as well, and then you've got client type. So again, as I mentioned, this can be kind of customized to whatever you as an organization do. In this instance, we've got band and artist, but you can do this for sport, events, charters, corporates, leisure. But this is also customizable for yourself as well. So you can add more different types in here if you need to, based on what you do as a business. We can set a primary contact, we can set the website, the emails for contacts out to the band, and we can make some account notes. Now, what you can also see across the top here is that's just the summary. We can also add contacts into this. So I've got two contacts specifically. I've got Tim Mann as the first contact. And if we click into here, this will bring up Tim's specific info. So again, we can add the contact type for Tim. So again, this would actually be a client, but you can have client supplier kind of relationships as well if they're both as a specific contact rather than an account. Again, we can add stuff like nicknames, account names, job titles. You've also then got client types. So within here, specifically for our bands, it then produces the client type specifically for the band. So if we were going to choose sport, it'd be slightly different. But you can see here I have tour manager, production assistant, artist, band member, crew member, PA, booker, traveler, or event organizer. Again, if there's more stuff that you need in this, you can add it. Or actually, if you're using a different client type or a different client kind of account type, as a sports person, that could then be part of the team, one of the coaches, something like that. Again, we can hold emails and information on this. We don't need to put everything in here as well. But what you can also see is there's stuff like credit cards that we can add in. So if they've got specific credit cards that they want that we use for them, ID documents that we can store against the contact. So whether that's, if we just add a new ID document here, you can see that actually we just put passport for this. We could do, let's do British passport. And then it asks us for the information on those specific documents. So if you are traveling internationally or you need ID checks in there, you can actually put all of those into the system as well, which is really handy. Again, with credit cards, we can add credit cards so that actually if we're booking stuff, we can add stuff to the bookings for them. And you can also see the bookings that make. Well, we do that separately. One other thing is we do have a timeline. So when there is contact with Tim or one of his accounts, it will all show up in here. So actually you don't just need specific account stuff. If we add it to a timeline in an account, it will also come into Tim's stuff and vice versa as well. So if we just save and close that, you can see here again, we can add more contacts into it. So I've got Tim, who's the production, the tour manager, and then we've got Eric, who is one of our band members as well. So if I just select client again here, we can see here that he is a band member specifically. And again, we can store contacts for him specifically in this. So it allows you to really manage your contacts and your specific parties that are going to be doing it. You can kind of have the information against them, but also if they come back, all of that is already stored in system as well. So it enables that kind of that constant communication with them, and if they want to book again, it's an easier process going forward as well. So what we can also see in our account cards, so we've talked about contacts. What we can also see is bookings, so any bookings that we make against them. Again, we're going to go through all venues they may play at. Now, again, we're going to go through this when we get to the tour leg, just because it's a little easier to show in here as well. So if we go, so again, this is fairly standard CRM functionality. There are some custom fields that we've put in here specifically, but again, we're trying to utilize the standard functionality as much as we can, because actually, one, that just makes it easier for implementation. Two, it makes it easier for people to actually onboard to it if they've used similar tools in the past. It's very similar in terms of feel, but also when it comes to upgrade time, so you get upgrades every 6 months for the product, so that new feature and functionality come in. It means that upgrade time is a lot easier and simpler because there's less custom stuff in the product. We're not building something brand new. We're just kind of editing the existing tables in there, so we can utilize functionality that comes in. For example, Copilot has come into CRM very recently, so we can utilize that. Again, contacts in here, so you can see, again, we've got different contacts in here. I'm actually going to go back to my accounts very quickly and just go to one of my suppliers. So not only can we have the clients, we've also got suppliers. So again, when you put it in here, you'll notice that this top bit changes very slightly, so you don't have the same information every time. But then you've got different supplier types as well. So it can be anything from airlines to hotels to a venue. Now, again, this is completely customizable for you as well, so you can add more stuff into here if you need to. And again, we can store information about the venue or the account in here. We can add contacts if we need to as well. But you also got procurement within this as well specifically. So in terms of the information that's held in procurement is actually how we contact them. So whether there's emails, follow emails, bulk emails, whether we can contact them by phone, fax, mail. This just makes it easier in terms of actually managing that supplier relationship as well. And again, we've got the timeline in there as well. So what I've done is I've created a very quick tour for Rexplode. So again, this could be tour, it could be travel. Again, you can change the name of this. We've done tour because we're doing it more on bands and artists, but actually if you were doing travels with clients, you can just change it to My Active Travels or My Active Tours, planning My Active Trips instead of tours. So if I just jump into this tour rather than the account, sorry. Let's just click into here. So what we can see here is if we've got, so this is the Rex UK tour. Very simple. I didn't want to put loads of information in, which kind of complicated it, but you can put quite a lot of information into this at any one time. Again, we've got the dates. So the dates of the tour, it's just an October tour for these guys. We've got tour contacts, we've got local currencies, and we can set stuff like budgets within this as well. So we can recalculate the budgets if needed once we've put some information into the tour. You've also got tour credit cards, so if you want to store them in system, you can do as well. Now, in terms of what this looks like from a generating the legs perspective, so what we do is we generate the tour legs first, and this is where we're going to be selecting where they're playing, where they're staying, based on the cities in this example. So we're going to start with Birmingham. In terms of the room requirements, so you can actually set up within here the different room requirements that are needed for the tour leg. So in this case, we've got 5 members that for the band, they each want a double room, and we've got a budget of £200 per room for that as well. So anything kind of under that. Now, what we can do from this, so this is where the customer surveys come into it, because actually it allows us to start to send out requests for surveys. So if I just go into my recents, oh no, I can't do that way. Just go into my dashboard quickly. So within here, what we have is different templates that we can send out to our hotel suppliers, asking for, so based on the room requirements that are needed, what rooms they've got, what budgets they've got, how many, do they have the dates available? And what that allows them to do is send in the requests to the system, which then we can manage in the bookings tab. So specifically with this one, if I go into our bookings and I look at my booking source, so actually we can add stuff like special notes for suppliers and clients. We can request dates within here. If we put in our travelers, we can actually put in which of our travelers are coming with us. We can then allocate them rooms. Now, one thing that we can do, especially when you're working with known individuals, is actually create different profiles for them. So rather than having their real name in there, you can actually just create kind of profiles for them that they go under different names, just so it doesn't show up as a specific name in there as well. So that's key. So again, there's a lot that we can do in terms of managing the bookings. So you can set the bookings up, you can send those emails out. If I go back into my tour and go back into my bookings, so we can then create, sorry, back into my tour, try again. Cool, so we can see this bookings come through for the Radisson Blu in Birmingham, specifically for my tour leg. So what you can see here is, sorry, this is what I was looking for, was the client requirements. So within the requirements, you can actually select different options. And again, you can add to this, but specifically for our hotels, we want breakfast included in the rate. We want a fully equipped gym. We want access and overnight parking for the tour bus, and we want Wi-Fi for the tour. So you can add different things in here that actually give us the requirements that then we can send out to the right hotels for. And again, the more that you send these out, the more information that you generate into the system, the easier it gets in the future. So there's a piece of startup, there's a startup implementation in terms of gaining this data. But once you've got it, you can then utilize that for different travel events, different tours, different people. It doesn't just kind of sit for one specific tour. Once you've got those requirements from hotels, you can then house that information in the system, which then allows you to utilize that into future. So the more information you put into the system, the better it gets for you, the more that it holds, and actually the more that we can do with that information going forward. So it might be a little bit slow in the beginning as we gain that information, But actually, because we've got the automation to get that information, it's fairly easy. Once you've then got it, or you want new stuff, it's easy to add that in. So we can also add stuff like flights. So if you need a charter or you want certain classes, or if it's just if you're going to fly private, anything like that, the minimum number of seats we need as well. And then what we can do is we can actually use our tour workflow to work through everything. So firstly, we can receive the details. So somebody's looking to book. When did we receive it? Actually received it on the 30th of September. We've requested more details on the same day. We've received those details and we've received the room requirements. So what that allows us to then do is move to the next stage. And this is where we can book hotels. So this is where we can actually, once we've got the information from the hotels of their requirements and when we can book in stuff, we can then book those in. We can then create the rooming list. We can then create vouchers for actually in terms of what, so they've got the information for it. And then we have a post-store follow-up as well in terms of feedback, both to ourselves and also then to our suppliers from that as well. That's a really, really quick run through in terms of what our travel system can do. Now, there is far more functionality behind this, but we wanted to give you just a flavor of what information you can hold at a kind of front end in terms of what you can do. Now, what we can do is if you are interested in seeing this further, what we can do is we can set up a 30-minute call just to discuss this in more detail. And then we can give you a full demo of the solution, which usually is around 1.5 to 2 hours, where we can talk through specifically how this could work for your organization. So yeah, as I said, after those first two, then what we do is give you an implementation plan and proposal. And there is also Microsoft funded workshops that are available. So because this is based on Microsoft technology, there are funded workshops available for you so that actually you can understand what this is without having to spend kind of multiple days in chargeability going through scoping. So we can offer that as well. So if you do have any questions, please feel free to get in touch with myself. My email is joe.edwards@advantage.co.uk, or alternatively, you can contact Phil as well at phil.talman@advantage.co.uk, and we can help you with that initial 30-minute call. And then what we can do going forward is look at specifically what you need to see from the system and demo. There is time for a Q&A now. If there is any questions, I'm just going to stop sharing my screen so I can pull this down. If there are any questions, feel free to pop them in the chat. I don't think there is any for now. But yeah, really appreciate you you joining us today on this webinar. As I said, please feel free to reach out if you've got any questions. Thanks.